The summer, rose, gold, negative, space, nail, design is hot, hot, hot. Greg Salo's gonna show you how right now.
Mission Control Gel Paints is an awesome way for you to create colorful designs. In this video, I'm going to show you how to mix a couple custom colors and use them in a negative space effect. I'm going to outline that effect with foil. All right, so what we're going to do is just replicate pushing back the cuticle, and then I'm going to prep the nail. All right, and this is going to create the perfect texture for any enhancement to bond well to. All right, so what I want to do is just gently remove shine around the perimeter and lightly feather from corner to corner. All right, once we remove shine from the surface, I'm going to be using Swipe to remove all the oils and contaminants from the surface. This is going to balance the pH level and prepare it for protein bond application. We have to make sure that we apply 2 coats of protein bond. I recommend doing it on all 10 nails first and then coming back and applying your second coat after. So we're going to do, let's take our form. I'm going to pinch it because we're going to create an almond shape. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to submerge my brush, then I'm going to get a nice bead, and then in order for me to sculpt the right length, what I'm going to do is just take off some of the excess from the back side, right? You can see how it becomes nice and matte. And then you notice that when I actually set it to the surface of the form, nothing moves. I'm going to be using the body of the brush from the center of my brush and moving it up, walking it from the top, doing the same thing on the opposite side. From the top all the way till I meet that corner. And then what I like to do is start to stretch it out to the desired length. Since we're going to be building an almond shaped nail, you could use the body of the brush just to kind of bring it out to the desired length while trying to keep the tip as flush to the natural nail as we possibly can. Right? You can see I'm using the side of the brush just to try to keep it as even as we possibly can. And you can use the tip just to kind of really shape the sides, the front right here, right, so that it's nice and even from side to side. Right, so once we actually have that built out, then we're ready to do our overlay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a much larger bead. Bounce. And what I like to do is count 1, 2, 3, and around the 4 count, I'll release it from the brush. I'll use the tip of the brush to walk around the perimeter of the nail to make it as tight as I can. Notice how I'm walking completely around. As it starts to bead down towards the center, I'll pull from the corners and then from the front of the bead. And what this is going to do is it's going to maintain a really beautiful natural upper arch. Notice that I'm using the tip of the brush to kind of pull through the body as it continues to run down towards the front. You can see how I'm using the side of the brush just to kind of stop it, and then I kind of glide through as it starts to set. What this is going to do is going to continue to work the product down towards the front of the nail. It's not going to leave me that much to fill in. All right, so once we actually have a great shape, right, from side to side, we have a great upper arch, then what I can do is I could take a small bead, I'll just kind of dab off the excess, and then notice I set my brush backwards. I'm going to kind of lay it in between both beads, brush it in flush. It's going to leave all that excess when I can use the body of my brush just to walk it down into the area that needs to be filled. Just kind of maintaining that tight fill. And then once we're done, we're going to allow that to sit dry. I'm going to file this into shape. We're going to get ready for our design application. All right, before we lay in the color, I'm going to take Molten from the Mission Control kit, and what I'm going to do is place a small amount on my tile. I'm also going to place another bead here, and what we're going to do is we're going to tone that down and make it pastel with white, which is Mission Control Fizz. And then I'm just going to press that down and just kind of spread that out. And obviously based on the color, if I want it lighter, I could always add some more white. But I like the contrast between the original color and this beautiful pastel mix. All you just got to do is press this out. You can get the painting knives on Amazon. That way you're going to be able to press out the paint with perfection on a smooth piece of tile. All right, so once we have the color mixed, we're ready to lay the color on the surface of our acrylic nail. Just to make sure that the paint isn't going to peel off any of the edges, I'm going to take a little bit of protein bond, and I'm just going to kind of just put it in the areas where I feel that, again, I'm going to be laying that paint down. So just literally right across this front end and then a little bit off this back corner right here. That's just going to act as an anchor, right? So that when I lay that paint down, it's not going to chip or peel away. And what I'm going to do is just take a small amount and just kind of feather it into the area that I want. All right, just touching, again, Molten. I don't want a real heavy amount, but I want to be able to kind of create a little bit of coverage all the way through. All right, so I've got my first kind of coat all the way through. I'm gonna come back with a little bit of a liner brush just to kind of outline the edges. And what I'll do is I'll take some of the pastel mix and I'm just gonna kind of wipe that down across the front. Just kind of create just random brush strokes, as you can see, all the way through. And then once we actually have that set, I'm gonna go ahead and get it into the light. And again, it doesn't matter what the shape is. If you wanna create more negative space, I could always come back with a little bit more color on my brush. If I wanted to add a little bit more depth, I could always just kind of tap and just kind of pull down and through, all the way through, creating kind of a random, just kind of a random pattern all the way down and around. All right, so we're gonna get it inside the light. We're gonna freeze this, all right, for a minimum of 20 seconds, right? I can work on other fingers if I choose to. The best part about working with the Mission Control is going to cure tack-free. The next part is really going to highlight the edges and add a pop to your design. If you're applying the paint and you notice that some of the areas are quite, they're not full, you could always go back with your brush, just kind of touch up the edge. Then you could use this just to kind of highlight, right, any of the areas that are kind of missing paint. And what this is going to do is just kind of brighten and bold up the areas that need it. I'm gonna get it back inside the light and set that before we outline the edges. What I'm going to do is take an empty glass dish. I'm going to take some of the foil transfer base, and I'm just going to add it to the bottom because I need a very shallow amount. Okay, perfect. We're going to be using some of this really nice copper snakeskin foil. And what I am going to do is I'm going to outline the edges with a liner brush. Going to just kind of add it right around here, just down and through. All right, all the way around. We're going to let that sit for at least a minute before I release the foil onto the surface. I'm gonna go ahead and take the foil, and what we're gonna do is we're just going to push it down onto the surface really firm. And when I peel it away, you're going to see a nice trail. So what I'm going to do is use a little bit of acetone just to kind of clean up around some of the exposed areas. There we go. So if it does get on any of the paint right there, what you can do is just take a little bit of solvent and just detail around the edges. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna lay this along, just going to lay this along the sides right here, just a nice little trail. I'm going to give this about 45 seconds to a minute, depending on how warm it is. And then I'm going to press down the foil around the edge, clean it up, and then we'll seal it with top coat. Perfect. All right, and again, what we're gonna end up doing, I'm gonna come in with just a little bit of acetone, just kind of clean up around the edges. All right, let's go ahead and take some finish gel. What we're gonna do is we're going to seal the design from cuticle to free edge. Perfect. Let's get that inside the light for a minimum of a minute. And when it's done, you're going to see the design shine.
Thank you for watching our videos. We've got a ton more. Click right over here. And also, don't forget to subscribe. Do that by clicking right over here.